Dreams about floods often indicates feelings and emotions that are inhibited. It may be possible that the person dreaming about a flood is repressing his emotions towards someone. This dream might mean anything related to excesses associated with a person or a situation you cannot manage. This dream is closely related to water, and this element can also mean dreams and maternity, new beginnings of our lives, our birth, or coming into the world. Usually, when we dream about water, it expresses feelings and transformations that will occur, but also purification. These dreams are also symbolic of baptism and rebirth. It may be suggested that floodwater has a fertile, nourishing impact. Therefore, this dream could mark the beginning of a new stage of existence and personal and spiritual growth. Moreover, water is a symbol of our spirituality, of our religious or spiritual beliefs. On the cosmic level, the equivalent of immersion is the flood that causes all forms to dissolve and revert to a liquid state, thus liberating the elements that will be recombined in new cosmic patterns afterward. Dreaming of a flood or being carried away by water means you are feeling overwhelmed by uncontrolled emotions. Floods represent the means of expansion, life, and goodness. Furthermore, if that is your sort of situation, your dream may imply that you expect prosperity in your life. At the same time, floods are not always safe. They are also a warning of danger and devastation, since they destroy vast territories of the land, and besides, floods tend to compromise many lives. In dreams, they appear to be associated with anxiety, torment, emotional or sentimental pain, and a sense of unsettling. Floods can have different features as oniric symbols. It is essential to distinguish whether what you dreamed about is a biblical flood, a flood that destroys your world to give it a new beginning, a small proportion, or just the threat of a flood. In the last case, it may be an exaggerated, unjustified fear and anxiety, or some negative feelings. Flood dream meaning. Dreaming of a flood of clear water. If you have dreamed of a flood or inundation with clear water, it suggests you have to delay your plans. Some hurdles may have emerged in your way, so you must first tackle them. Moreover, there is also another interpretation of this dream. If there is a flood with clear blue water, it can mean that all the problems in your life are being resolved, so in the future, you will have a lot more success. Dreaming of a flood of dirty water. If you have seen that there was dirty and muddy water during the flood, it signifies that there will be some adverse fluctuations in your life. You are supposed to be in unusual circumstances, and for the near future you will feel very uncomfortable. Dirty water implies there is a circumstance involving much pain, and you disbelieve even in the long run about the hope of recovery. Dreaming about a big flood. It is a good sign if you have experienced in your dream a flood of significant proportions. This dream suggests that your repressed feelings and frustrations will be delivered, and as a result your mental equilibrium will be re-established. Dreaming about observing a flood from a distance. If you witnessed a flood from afar in your dream, such a dream could imply some significant incident occurring shortly in your life, which could influence your mode of thinking and acting. Dreaming about your life being threatened by a flood. If you have been jeopardized in your dream by flood water, such a dream is not a pleasant sign and generally means loss, harm, and shifts for the worse that you may soon encounter. Dreaming about a flood carrying people. If you have noticed in your dream that people were being carried away by floodwater, such a dream is a sign of a bad omen. This dream generally shows that in the approaching period, you will encounter a series of barriers or difficulties. Also, this dream can be a sign of some significant failures, which might mislead you a lot. Dreaming about being in the middle of a flood. It is usually a bad sign to dream that you are standing in floodwaters. In some circumstances, it reveals a hopeless and desperate sensation, generally emotional. This dream invites you to face and struggle with the issues that cause you to feel this way. Dreaming about escaping a flood. Usually, this dream means your potential to solve problems at present or soon. If you are able to escape a flood in your dream, such a dream is a good sign. However, if you dream of trying to escape a flood, it means that you do not like changes in your life. You might find it very hard to adapt to new transformations. Also, you usually do not feel safe in those situations. Dreaming about your house being flooded. A dream about a flooded place is actually a terrible sign. If you have dreamed that your home has been flooded, this dream may indicate that there is a conflict within you or in your life. That could be a fight within your emotions or feelings, or an actual clash with someone, a negative influence, etc. If the water receded, this dream may result in a loss of the fight in your life against some unfortunate situations. If you've dreamed that you've been removing the water carried by the flood, that dream reveals that you've already commenced facing these unwanted problems, attempting to approach them. Dreaming of a flood approaching rapidly. If you experienced a flood approaching fast towards you in your dream, such dream might indicate not being able to adapt quickly to the changes of circumstances occurring in your life. It may also display a period of instability and stagnation in your life until you learn to settle. Dreaming about a flooded land. If you have seen or traveled through flooded landscapes, this dream is the right prediction of your tranquility. Perhaps it means gaining peace after a lengthy period of struggle and stagnation. This dream is a message for the progress that awaits you soon. Biblical meaning of flooding water in a dream. Flood is a huge volume of water overflowing beyond ordinary limits, particularly over earth. In the spiritual realm, flood implies the enemy's mental assault and anger against a somebody. According to the Judeo-Christian tradition, there are dreams about floods carrying blessings to individuals and floods that represent a destructive force. From the perspective of biblical interpretation, if we dream about floodwater, it can be regarded as the gift of God, a purifying agent, the supreme creative force, one that fosters abundance, fertility, and a new beginning. To dream about the biblical flood, it means you are disobeying God's will. During the time of Noah, those who perished in flood died because they refused to accept God or seek His forgiveness. In the same way, if God told you to do something, but you refused, a flood reflects divine anger in the dream. Besides being an indicator for disobedience towards God, it is also related to stealing, inability to forgive people easily, refusing to help people, hiding things from people, shedding of innocent blood, disrespect towards your parents and others. In Islamic tradition, flood is also related to a disaster, a calamity, or significant changes in the world. Struggling a flood or attempting to avoid it from entering a home implies fighting against one's adversary in order to safeguard one's family and possessions. Preventing the flood from entering into one's house also signifies reconciliation with one's opponent. In Hinduism, such a dream often represents a successful trade or safe voyage for traders. However, to ordinary persons, it indicates bad health and unfavorable circumstances. There is also the perception of the dark, unknown depths of the ocean, the threat of a cataclysmic flood, implying an unusual intensity of perceptual and emotional reality, propelling the dream to stimulate awareness with an impressive impact on one's life. Additional information. Many dictionaries of dreams also state that a flood constitutes uncontainable sexual energy. It may reveal you have got some sexual energy you cannot govern. You may be repressing this energy, but you need to allow it out at times, or it will overwhelm you like the flood in your dream. Flood warnings, flood messages can predict a new commencement in a dream. If you move away in a dream because of a flood, it may mean that you need to be more prepared for the future. To see floods at night in a dream can indicate your emotions are concealed. Seeing flashlights, torches, or lights in dreams of floods can indicate a fresh start in life.